Okay, good morning, good day, and good evening, everyone. I'm Fitra Ramdhani, Global Wellbeing Info Indonesia representative, and welcome to Reimagining Society webinar today, talking about Be the Best Version of You. This webinar is held by Reimagining Society, an international youth-led organization which endeavors to create more inclusive, fair, and sustainable communities by holistically embedding the concept of well-being. Our coach today, Ms. Fanny Lara Ambadar, will lead us to find our best self. But who actually Ms. Fanny is? Ms. Fanny Lara Ambadar is a confidence coach who has been involved in the psychology and personal development industry since 2009. Was featured in Clio magazine's 30 Under 30 Young, Passionate and Successful Women in 2015, and has coached and counseled hundreds of people in Australia, Fiji, and Indonesia to help them become the best possible version of themselves. Her mission is to help people to become more confident in their life, relationship, and career. Wow, I'm so excited to hear more about Miss Fanny. However, before we start, I would like you to know, in order to ask questions, please kindly drop it in the chat box at any time during the session. We will do our best to get your questions and comments addressed. I'm sure Miss Fanny also will be glad to hear your question and comments. Please also remember to fill the attendance form attached in the comment section. Your name listed will be written in your certificate, and we will collect your information started from now until 1 hour after the session. All right, ladies and gentlemen, to kick off this session, let's welcome Ms. Fanny. And without further ado, Ms. Fanny, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here, guys. I'm so excited to be sharing everything that I know in the span of 1.5 hours. So please ask me questions. If you can, write it down on the comment sections. And if I can't answer it live, I'm gonna go back to the live and then answer it afterwards. But take this time. If you have any questions, please write it down and then I'll answer it to you after the webinar. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. So I've already prepared the presentation for you. All right. So today I'm going to be sharing about the steps to become the best version of yourself. So this is the perfect time since we are in the beginning of the new year. So yeah, let's get on it. But before, I would like to congratulations you guys for showing up. Because I believe 90% of success is just showing up. So with you being here, sparing, the 1.5 hours of your time is you showing up for yourself. So congratulations for that. I'm super proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself as well. So before we begin, I would like for you to ask yourself, why are you here? So before every presentation or every training or seminars, I always ask them what their intention are, because our intention is everything. Like our why is the reason why we do everything, right? So that's going to be our mission, because how you start is how you finish. So if you want to finish strong, you have to start strong, right? And how? By setting an intention, setting a goal, right? So because today is also about goal setting. So I would like for you to get your pen and paper. I hope you get it ready. If not, I'm going to give you a minute to go grab a pen and paper, write it down. And then so you can share the answer in the comment section. Or if you would like to just keep it for yourself, it's fine, because this answer is really for you, right? So why are you here in this webinar or here on Earth, right? Here in this life. I don't know how big or how small you want to take it. But I would like for you to be more specific, like why are you here in this webinar, right? Why are you here tonight? Why? What makes you curious about attending this webinar? What do you want to learn? What is your goal? What do you want to get out of this webinar? Because if you just want to, if you're just curious, for example, and you just want to know, you're gonna know, right? In the end. But if you want to learn specific things, then you're gonna get that specific thing. So the more specific you get, the more specific you're gonna, like the result that's gonna show up. So, all right, take a minute to ask yourself, okay, why am I here? Why do you want to be here? Maybe because you really want to become the best version of yourself, however that looks like for you, right? Or maybe you want to get rid of your worries. Maybe you're someone that always overthink things. that always live in the past. For example, you want to learn how to move on, how to release that, that baggage in the past, right? Or you want to heal yourself, or you want to achieve specific goals, and you want to know the strategy and how to actually get that. I don't know, whatever it is, I want you to put it down so that we can review it, after the 1.5 hours is finished. Do you get that or not? Okay. All right. So once you're done, we're going to begin. But before, I would like to introduce myself again. I know Fitya already introduced me, but I just want to share my mission. So I'm basically here to help you become the best version of yourself. And I believe the best version of ourselves is the most confident version of ourselves, right? And that's why I'm a life coach, but I'm uh, specifying specified in confidence building, right? Okay, so before I share with you the steps to become the best version of yourself, let's wrap up 2020 because, as we know, 2020 was a big year for all of us. It's been such a long year, some of the hardest year in so many people's lives with the pandemic and everything. But this is the thing that I always do every year as well, like whether there's pandemic going on or not, just so that before we move on and set goals for the future, we need to reflect on the past a little bit, right? So that we know what are the things that we can learn out of last year. Because the mistakes that people make usually when they want to create goal setting is they skip over the reflection side of things. They don't do self reflection, but that's actually very, very important because it's super important to piece the puzzle back together, right? It allows us to realign, tune in, and ponder on our truth. So before we zoom ahead to setting a heart-centered goal and manifesting for the future for 2021, let's begin by looking back on 2020. So again, prepare your pen and paper. These are some of the questions that you can ask yourself to do self-reflection on 2020. So during the most challenging times in 2020, how did you show up? Are you happy with how you showed up, or you could have shown up differently? So for me, for example, I could definitely show up differently, especially in my business, because I wasn't prepared. Like when things started to get crazy, I didn't jump on online, like preparing my business online as quick as I could, because I was like, oh, I'm still um I don't know, like I couldn't move on from the things that I have planned. So I was like, oh no, I had planned so many things, and I was like complaining a lot, right? So that's how I showed up. So that's my self-reflection. So I'm not really happy on how I showed up because basically half of the pandemic, like half the year, I spent on like complaining and just like really. But then again, like things happen. I lost my grandmother and my adopted dad during pandemic, so it was really hard as well. So I was dealing with a lot of family stuff as well. So like don't be too hard on yourself as well if if you're dealing with mental health issue, or if you weren't as productive as you could, right? Because it's been a hard year for everyone, but it's just so that how to move on, like how to do things forward, how to respond better, right? All right. And then, did you step outside of your comfort zone? If yes, when? So this is for me. I did, especially towards the end of the year. I actually made the move from Jakarta, Indonesia, to Bali. What I've always wanted to do. So I'm glad I did that. And how did that make you feel? It was great. It was great to step out of my comfort zone. So I'm just giving you the example on how to actually answer the question. And again, you can share it with everyone on the comment section, or you can just write it down and keep it for yourself. That's fine. And then the most important thing is, what did you learn during the process? So for me, I learned to trust the journey, to trust the process, because I came and made the move to Bali. Actually, I was planning to just stay for 1 month, and then I ended up staying for 3 months now, without really knowing what's going to happen and everything. But I trusted my intuition. I wanted to move, so I did, and that felt good. Did you love with your whole heart? If not, how come? So for me, I did. At the end of the year, I met someone, fell in love. I really like gave it all, even though in the beginning it was really hard. But this is not specifically just for your like love relationship. It's just like love in general, like how you love others, how you be, how you're being kind to others and also to yourself. So for me, I did love myself as well with all my heart because even though there were so many things that I planned, that didn't happen, and I deal with some, mental health problems as well. I was really depressed, and especially from losing, two of my dear family members during the pandemic. I didn't give myself a hard time for that. So I was loving myself with all my heart as well. um, were you fully present? If not, why not? I was really present because I was there. Like when I felt, my feelings and everything. I was dealing with, with my emotions and everything. So yeah, I did. Um, I was showing up, like present 100%. And for you, if you're not, then why not? So ask that for yourself. Maybe because you're worried about the uncertainty, because this pandemic really brings up that fear in so many of us, right? Where could you have been more present? So for me, I wasn't actually being present so much in my business, in my career and my finances, because that took like that when I was facing my emotional issues, right? Emotional challenges and mental health challenges. My finances and my business or career, being on the backside. So yeah, so maybe I could have been more present with my business and finances. Were you kind? Could you have been kinder? I think I was being kind to myself and to others. Could I have been kinder? Of course. There's always room for improvement. How much did you love? Could you have loved more? So this is probably connected to the previous question. How did you serve others? Sorry, there's a little bit of a typo. So how did you serve others? Could you have served more? Definitely. I did serve others because I did create a lot of webinars as well online, and I did do it for free, just like now. Could I have done it more? Absolutely. I could have done it more often. And maybe I will with Reimagining Society, right? Starting from now. Where did any old limiting fears or beliefs pop up? So for me, definitely fears, a lot of like limiting belief came up, especially with the uncertainty. There was a lot of fear around like what I'm gonna do for my business, for my career, because I was planning a retreat, like a live in-person retreat and seminars that didn't happen due to the pandemic. Um, and then travel plans and everything. So yeah, there was fear and limiting beliefs that, oh my gosh, like what if it never ends? What's gonna happen and all that. How do you want? What do you want to let go of? So I did this actually 2 days before the new year. So I wrote it down, the things that I want to let go of in 2020, and then I put it like a letter. So I read a letter and then I burned down the letter. It was so good. It felt like a cleanse. So I wrote a lot of things in there. One of the example is I want to let go of not trusting myself. Right. I want to let go of insecurities. I want to let go of fear of the future. I want to let go of judgment about myself and others. So you can make the list as much or as little as possible. It's up to you. So you can go back to this question. You don't have to enter everything now, right? But I want you to at least write down the questions so that you can go back to this later and then you can use this prompt for your journaling session. Like journaling is super important. I need to do that often, more often as well, because it just helps clear your mind. Because like if you just think about it in here, it's not gonna get resolved. And usually, like like it gets like you will get confused with so many thoughts. Like we have so much to think every day, right? And usually our thoughts the next day is just what we're actually thinking the day before. So it's just like it's gonna make you crazy. So put it on paper. All right, so So there's an example as well. An old limiting belief, a job, a relationship, a situation, a pattern, a painful memory, resentment, hurt, or behavior you're still holding on to. So that's the things that you can write as the things that you want to let go of. And then what would you like to leave in 2020? So yeah, for me, I would like to leave mostly it's fear, like just wanting to control things that are beyond my control. That's the big thing for me. That's what I want to leave in 2020. Because if there's anything that 2020 taught me is that we are never in control. We can plan, but then we're never in control of the result, right? We are kind of in control of our results depending on how much we work on it, right? We work on our dreams, but then again, the result it's actually out of our hands. So yeah, for me, that's the biggest thing that I would like to live in 2020. All right, so now moving on. Now we're gonna celebrate. So, what did you birth or create in 2020? So, for me, I created an ebook, and I'm super proud of that because I've been like this ebook has been in the works for a long time, and that never gets done because I just keep postponing, keep doing other things, so distracted with so many things. So, I did that. So yay me. So I would like for you to, to also like dig deep. Like, what is it that you birth or create? It doesn't have to be an ebook as well. It doesn't have to be something like a product, or it could be, I don't know, it could be an idea. Like that is also amazing, right? Oh yeah, I want to, create this next year. Like that, you birthed something, right? You created an idea. So, like, I want you to really dig deep. All right. Next, what were the three best things that happened in 2020? So for me, one of the things is moving to Bali. I've always wanted to live here. I met someone special, and then yeah, like moving forward in my project, which is one of the things is finishing my ebook. So for me, that was the three best things. What was yours? Please, share with us on the comment section. And the next, what have you achieved or what are you most proud of? So yeah, again, for me, I'm most proud of like finally finishing my website. That's one thing too. You can also check it out at www.fannylaraambadar.id. I think there's going to be a link somewhere in the comment section so you can check it out afterwards. Um, and what are the three biggest things you have learned or remember? So yeah, it can be more than three, of course, the more the better. But if you can find three things, especially around about 2020 for me, yeah, one of the biggest thing is to let go of control. Yeah, that's for me the biggest thing that I can think of right now. And then how have you grown? So for me, I've grown more resilient. So now I feel like I can like whatever happened, I'm ready. That's what 2020 has taught me. Like no matter what, like if I make plans and that don't happen, I'm gonna be okay. All right, so yeah, what was yours? Like how have you grown during 2020? And then describe 2020 in 3 words, because that's going to be your reality. If you describe it as, oh, it was like the worst thing, then that's how it's going to be. That's your reality, right? For me, 2020 in 3 words, it's a lesson, definitely. Um, it was all about healing as well. Like there was so much pain that I needed to heal, and then growth. That's my 3 words for 2020. So what's yours? You can also share it with everyone on the comment section. And then the last one is, what are you most grateful for in 2020? So this is the one of the biggest thing as well, so that we can close the chapter right with gratitude, not with resentment or grudge or like, oh, but we want to close the chapter and move on from whatever happened last year, whatever you experienced last year, so that we can actually move forward with a clean slate. So what are you most grateful for? For me, again, the lessons, all the lessons. Like it was just so much lessons about myself, like what yeah. So for me, all the lessons. You can also write down the lessons if you want. I did. And I'm probably going to do it again after this webinar. I'm going to go back to my own questions and answer them as well. All right. So When you're done with this, you can also take a photo, and so that you can go back to the questions later. Now let's move on to setting up for 2021. So this is perfect. We're going to create some goals, some intention. Again, I want you to take your time. I'm just going to move like through quickly because I have a lot more to share with you in the span of 1.5 hours. Yeah, so okay. So when you're setting goals, it's important that they take this following criteria. So you probably heard about SMART goals, right? Like specific, measurable, it has to be tangible. What else? Attainable, something like that, right? But for me, these are the criteria that goals must have. So they must be heart centered. They have to come from a place of love and excitement and passion instead of fear. Because a lot of people, for example, if you set up financial goals, usually when what we think of is the debt that we have, right? Like all the bills that we have to pay. That is not heart centered. That comes from fear. So, what is a heart centered goal? A heart centered goal is focusing more about what you want to get rather than what you don't want to happen. So, what do you want to happen? If you don't want to have debt anymore, then what's the opposite of that? Because if you have a lot of money, of course you're not going to have debt anymore. You're going to be able to pay it off, right? So I want you to focus more on what you actually want to have, what you want to create. And then the second, they must inspire you and give you goosebumps. It has to scare you a little bit, because if not, then you're not setting a big enough goal, right? So it has to equally excite you and scares you. Like for me, for example, whenever I'm presenting, if I'm not scared, that means I'm not doing something right. That means it's not important enough for me. So I know when there's a little bit of fear, it's good because that means I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm growing myself. I'm improving myself. Right. All right. The next one is they must be true for you and not something you think you should do or achieve due to someone else's agenda. For example, if your parents, your family has been telling you, oh, you have to get married this year, you don't have to, right? Because that's, especially if you don't want to, or if you're not ready to, or if you haven't met the right one yet, right? Because that's your family goal or like a society goal or something. No, it has to be true for you. The next one, you must use inspiring dialogue. So losing weight is not inspiring, right? But what will inspire you about losing weight is to wake up feeling healthy and energetic and strong and vital, right? Same with I want to quit sugar. You can instead try something like, I want to treat my body like the temple that it is. I want to take care of it. I want to nourish my body. So something like that. They also must make your heart sing. So if your goals don't give you butterflies and excite you, that means you have to set a different goal, right? And then the last one, they mustn't overwhelm or stress you out. This is a big reminder for me because I'm very ambitious. I usually set like so many goals all at the same time. I want to achieve it like right away. Sometimes I get burned out, right? So you have to be realistic as well. So you shouldn't overwhelm yourself, right? Set big goals, but make sure it's realistic, make sure it's attainable, and that it's possible, right? So use crystal clear languages and be super specific. So like, I want to find happiness this year is not specific enough, right? Because happiness is looks different for all of us. Or, oh, I want to make a lot of money. That's not specific enough because for some people, a lot of money is probably like $1 million, right? Okay, that's a lot of money. But for some other, like for other people, maybe, oh, $1 million is not enough. It's like a very small amount. So you have to be specific according to what you want to achieve, right? Okay, so moving on. So this is what you can use as a criteria, or as a like list that you can tick off for your own goal setting. Obviously, I would love for us to do it right away, right now, like for you to actually set goals that are, specific, measurable, tangible, attainable, and everything. But we don't have much time. So if you want, then maybe we can create another webinar about like specifically about goal setting. That would be awesome. All right, but you can use this as a guide. All right, so moving on, I would like to share with you the steps to be the best version of you, because that's the big idea here, right? So what is becoming the best version of you means? It means it's all about having self-confidence, basically, which is why I told you in the beginning, that's my mission. I want to help you become the best version of you, which is the most confident version, right? And what is the most confidence version of you? It means to be able to be your true self in all aspects of your life. So from the time when we were born, we will be raised to be a version of ourselves that pleases others, right? We were told to be like this, to do that. Like we compare ourselves to other people, or maybe our family, our parents compare us to other children, right? And so whether that comes from family or the way we were taught at school, we learn to put a mask and to be an actor in our lives. But that's what actually makes people stuck and unfulfilled and not knowing who they truly are. So, so you have to actually be committed, right? To be able to be vulnerable and curious, to really find and discover what the best version of yourself look like, and put away the mask that you have to wear for so long, right? So if you're ready to claim your power, I want to share with you the 5-step guide that I created to help you achieve, all of this, to be the best version of yourself. So before I start, this is actually the 5 steps. Is actually the steps that I actually wrote in my book. So this is just a quick info. There's actually 10 steps in my book, but if I share with you all of the steps, we're not gonna finish in 1.5 hours. So I'm gonna share with you as much as I can. Maybe I'll share like just 5 for now, and then if you want to know more, then you can get the ebook to get the complete version of it. All right, let's start with the first one. So the first step to becoming your best self and to unleash your full potential is to assess yourself. So we just did, right? We did with 2020 with reflection, and then to set goals as well. So now we're gonna do it for all of our areas of life. All right, see, I'm like stumbling through words because I'm just so excited. Like there's so many things that I want to share with you. All right, so please raise your hand. I know I can't really see you, but raise your hand if you ever felt like your behavior and the way that you had helped yourself varied depending on who is around you and where you are. Like, for example, we are usually more comfortable to be ourselves with people who know us, right? Like our family, our close friends, but in front of other people that we just met, like we're not very comfortable. We're probably performing or putting on a mask, right? Depending on who's around us. Because we tend to play a different role when we are with individuals that we want to please or want to make sure that they like us. And that's the thing, like when we meet someone new, for example, we tend to put on our best mask on so that we can impress them, right? So yeah, so this is another example. You might behave in a completely different way if you're at work or with people you just met and want to be friends with, right? So when we are so that's when we let our guards down and become more vulnerable and less worried about how others might perceive us. So this is about when when we're in a comfort of the people that we already know, we let our guard down, and sometimes that's when we actually show our worst self. That's when we become more vulnerable, right? Because it's kind of weird to be vulnerable right away, maybe to people people we just met. But that actually, yeah, that creates a mask that we have to put on. I remember before, when I first started coaching, my cousin who went to one of my training, she said, "Oh my God, you don't look like you on stage. You look like a different person." Because and that could be two things. That could be because I was performing, or because I was actually being my best self there, and around her or around my cousins, because I'm just so because they're my comfort zone, right? I don't have to be my best self, so I can just be me. Like I can be the worst version of me and not my best version of me, right? So so there you go. That's why you have to know like which one. That's why now like it's still a work in progress. Like, for me to become me as a coach, this confidence coach in my personal life, like that's not easy sometimes. Because because sometimes, like, for example, the way we interact to our parents is probably different to where how we interact to our colleges, for example, right? Or or to our friends or something. All right, so moving on. So I'm going to be asking you several questions that will help you identify which areas of your life you are the best version of yourself. So I want you to answer with yes or no. Pick the answer closest to how you feel. So there's no maybe, there's just yes or no, right? All right. So let's start with business, career, and professional world first. So are you satisfied with your work? Yes or no? Do you get along with your colleagues, colleagues? That's right. See, I can't even pronounce it properly. I'm sorry, guys. English is my second language. Okay, give me a break. All right. Next question: do you know what you want to do for work? Are you working in a field that you're passionate about? Are you fulfilled with the level of income you are receiving, or do you want to get more? So yes or no. Do you feel aligned with the work you are currently doing? Is it aligned with your values? So yes or no. I want you. So there's this, yes. If it's all yes or four, if it's just one, I want you to be honest. This is for yourself. You don't have to share it with the group if you don't want to. You don't have to put it in the comment. It's just for you. And then next, love and romantic relationship. Are you experiencing happiness in love? Are you fulfilled in your love or romantic relationship? Are you happy? Do you feel like you can be yourself in a love relationship, or do you feel like you have to put a mask on, like, what we just mentioned? Do you feel supported, loved, appreciated by your partner? Yes or no? And the last one, do you feel compatible with your partner? So again, 4 out of 4 or 3 out of 4. This is just for you to know. So moving on to family. Do you feel like you have a connection with your family? Can you be yourself around your family? Do you feel supported or loved or appreciated by your family? Yes or no? And then friendships. Do you trust your friends? Would you say that the level of give and take in your friendship is balanced between you and them? So it's not just you give or you take. Is it balanced? Does your friendship inspire, elevate, or making a positive impact in your life in any way? All right. Next, acquaintances and neighbors. Do you stay true to yourself when you meet new people? So meaning you don't have to change your demeanor, you don't have to act a certain way so that they like you. Are you honest with yourself when you meet someone new that you don't like? Meaning you don't try to convince yourself that you need to give them a chance, you need to, oh, maybe you need to like please them or something. You have to make them like you, or you have to, or they have to make you like them, right? It could be the other way around. And now for yourself, do you appreciate your physical body, or do you criticize yourself a lot? Would you think you have a healthy self-talk? So self-talk is something that we actually do every day, but we just don't realize it sometimes. So it can be like, for example, when you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? Like, what do you say to yourself? Sometimes a healthy self-talk will be, oh, you're beautiful, you can do this, something positive, right? For example, if you're facing a test, or you're facing an opportunity, and then you can, oh, I can do it. Or would you put yourself down? Would you say, oh, I'm so ugly, or look at my hair? You always complain about how you look, how you are. Yeah. So, do you have a healthy self-talk or not? Have you take good care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally? So again, yes or no. You can actually ask yourself, like, if not, why? Why not? Right? What stops you from doing that? But for now, for the sake of this exercise, it's just a yes or no answer. All right. So if you're done, so I believe there's 18 questions in total. So you can actually compile all the yeses and all the nos so that you know how many do you have for each answers. out of 18. So obviously, the more yes you have, the easier and closer it is for you to be your best self. If not, then that means you have work to do, right? And we all, don't worry, we all have work to do. Even if you answer everything yes, you can still improve yourself to be better, right? So the goal is to be your true self in all spheres of your life. And of course, another goal, the biggest goal, is progress, not perfection, right? There's no such thing as perfection. All right, so now based on that quick survey, which area of your life has more no? So maybe that's the area that you need to work on the most, right? Okay, so my hope is by the end of this webinar, you'll get more clarity, you will be more comfortable with yourself, and also especially with that area of your life. Okay, so is there any question about step one? I want you to please write it down in the comment section so that I can answer it at the end of this webinar, or some other time I will go back and read all of your comments. All right, so step two is exploring your internal reality. So we're gonna go into our brain, basically dissect them to know how to basically see our mindset about things. All right, so in the previous steps, you've learned a little bit more about yourself in various situations of life. Now we're going to continue this journey of honesty to ourselves, right? Most importantly, and also self-discovery. So being dishonest is one of the most common mistakes we make in life that keeps our power at bay. Because who here always automatically answers, I'm okay, or it's fine, whenever someone asks us, how are you? Even though we're probably not okay, right? So we're not being honest. We're just so used to not being honest. But if we're not even being honest to ourselves, then we're doomed, basically, right? So this is super important for you to be vulnerable, to be open, and to be honest with yourself. If you don't want to share the answer to the group, to anyone else, you can just write it down on your page, on your note. So what I really want to share with you in this step is that the external world is basically a simple projection of what is happening internally, right? So what we see about the world it doesn't define the world, it defines us. So if we think that life is beautiful, right? It's because inside it's beautiful, right? The way we think is beautiful. We always think about the positive things in life, but if we think, oh, life sucks, life is so hard, it's because, inside is not right, right? And you have to improve it, because maybe you always look at things negatively, right? In a negative way. So since the external world is a pure reflection of us, it can give us a lot of information about ourselves when we take the time to observe and be aware. So now, again, we're going to do self-reflection again, and I want you to be honest with what you truly feel inside. So for example, now, if you hate your job, if you're working in or studying, if you don't like the major that you're studying right now, it could be a sign that you technically don't recognize your skills and abilities, that you don't really believe in yourself, that you just follow along what maybe your parents tell you that you should do, right? Maybe you're still not seeing clearly what you are capable of. You don't know your potential just yet, right? That's why you settle for the jobs or the field that you don't like, just because your parents tell you that maybe it's the field that will make the most money, for example. It's basically you creating your own misery. So I want you to take a moment to list 2 things that you dislike in your life right now. So based on the step 1, you already know what you need to improve, right? The things that you answer no to the most. So now I want you to list 2 things about that area specifically, what you don't like about that area. So if it's your career, what is it that you don't like about your career, right? And then now, after you've listed these 2 things that you would like to change about your life, let's see what's going on in your internal reality. So this is the example of what could potentially be the projection. For example, if it's a friendship, right? For example, what you don't like about your friendship is that you feel that your friends don't listen to you or don't want to hear from you, right? It's always about them Or maybe it's in the romantic relationship. You feel that every romantic partner that I had, I did everything they wanted, and I always tried to please them, but they never gave me the same amount of effort in the relationship, right? Or you probably think of yourself, oh, why me? Or why is it that I can't get what I offer? Why do I always have to give and not take? The internal projection could be, for friendship, I tend to forget about my own needs. I put other people's priority first, right? I always try to please others. And I have a hard time of putting myself as a priority. So that is that's actually what's going on inside. That's why you feel that your friends don't listen to you. That's why you feel that your friends always make it about them instead of about you. It's because you actually not putting yourself first and not make yourself a priority, right? So that's actually what's true. But you see it as if your friends reject you or your friends don't love you enough. And for the romantic partner, the internal projection could be that you believe you cannot be loved for yourself, that you're not enough, that you feel that you probably don't deserve the love, right? So that's why you have to be another person, you have to act in a certain way to be loved by your partner, right? So that could be what's actually going on inside. So this is why we need to be honest with ourselves. I want you to dig deep and find what you see, right, in the external world is telling you about your internal reality. So maybe the external projection is that you feel that your parents always criticize you, right? They always put you down, for example. Maybe the internal projection is that because you feel that you're not enough, you're not good enough, whatever, you feel that you have to achieve this and that, you have to be successful first for them to be proud of you, right? It could be any, like, I would love to help you. You can put in the comment section. I could probably help you to find that internal projection, right? All right, so if we're finished with this, we're going to move on to the next step, which is step 3. And if you have any questions, please write down on the comment section. Another aspect that can help us discover our personal power and become the best version of ourselves is to tame our triggers, um, which is the step 3. All right. So, are there some subjects that you avoid discussing with others because you know you will be angry or frustrated? For example, with your partner, you would rather not talk about a certain thing because, there's gonna be a drama. You're gonna get, um, you know, you're gonna fight. If you talk about that. But that's actually the thing that you need to discuss, right? You need to clarify. Or do you sometimes find yourself easily offended by others, like by what other people say, and then you feel that you're not enough and stuff like that? So this is all connected to all the previous steps as well. But learning your triggers, what triggers you, what makes you feel angry and sad and hurt, will help you to move from being reactive to claiming your personal power and become the best version of yourself, right? Because when we are reactive, that means we are actually feeling like we're the victim, that other people can make us feel a certain way, right? But when we know what the triggers are, we claim back our power. Like we take back the responsibility that we know, no one can make us feel a certain way. We make ourselves feel a certain way by what's actually going on inside, right? By our internal projection, what we just talk about in the second step. So when we are triggered by something external to us, we tend to blame other people for what we are experiencing. But blaming others for our state of mind and situation is living in a victim mindset. The faster you can learn to stop reacting to others, the faster your mindset will shift to be more in alignment with your true self. So this is some of the things that you can do. So first, you have to accept that the only things you can change in this world are your behavior, your mindset, and your communication style. So for example, if you try to communicate with your partner and you ended up fighting and you get triggered, you can try to, find other ways to communicate, right? Ideally, your partner will know this as well, so that when you're not, when you get triggered, the other person will not, because like that's the thing with relationship, right? It's take and give, or it's actually give and give. So me and my partner as well, sometimes when I get triggered, he will calm down. Like he will not, he will be the realistic one, so that things don't escalate, right? Because if both of us get triggered, then chaos happens. Um, and then the second one, you have to accept that the only things that you can change in this world. Sorry, this is repeating again. The second one, as you probably know by now, you have no control over other people's behavior or mind. So that's the only thing that you can control is yourself, right? All right. The next one is make a decision now that you will no longer blame your problems or external factors on basically anything other than yourself, right? So whatever decision, whatever results that you have in your life, if you're not happy in your career, for example, if you're now studying, in this field instead of that field, even though you feel that you are forced by your parents or by someone else, by the society, you're the one that made the decision to follow through, right? To actually apply for that job, to actually apply for that university or whatever. So take back that control, right? And then you can also list some of the things that can trigger you emotionally, that can trigger an emotional reaction to you, and be as specific as possible, and use the example to explain the trigger. For example, I tend to react emotionally to the following. For example, when someone uh, for example, when my parents, ask me to get married, for example, I tend to get triggered. Or when, I don't know, when I'm being judged, for example, by my, I don't know, lifestyle choices. When other people, I don't know, I can't really think of one right now, but you know what I mean by the triggers, right? I don't know if you don't know. If you want me to explain more, maybe when I think of something, I'll give you the example. But right now, basically, when someone said something or when someone do something and it triggers you, that's the emotional trigger that I'm talking about. All right, so this is quite similar to the second step, because we can actually learn our triggers, what's going on internally, by our triggers. So, for example, the way we can know our values, our life values, is by knowing what we don't like. For example, I don't like working 9 to 5 jobs. Because why? Because I value freedom, right? So that's why when I have to do something consistently and repeatedly, that's for me, that will trigger me as well. That will bore me, that will anger me if I'm being controlled, for example, right? That's why when my parents ask me, like, when are you gonna get married? You're this age, you're blah blah blah, everyone else already got married. For me, that's my parents trying to control me, which is why it triggers me, because my value is freedom, right? So that's how you will find out more about yourself. You will know about your life purpose by what you don't like. For example, I don't like working. I don't know. I don't like working behind the desk, for example. I need to get out there, be on a stage, talk to people, right? So you can actually find what you want and what you like by figuring out what you don't like, basically. So it's similar. So for you who are still, looking for your passion, for your life purpose, for your, life values and everything, this is one of the ways that you can do that. All right, so now moving on to the step 4, which is heal your wounds, because it will be really hard for us to be the best version of ourselves if we cannot move on from the past, especially what has hurt us before, right? We have to actually heal our wounds first so that we can glow again, so that we can, we can create the version of ourselves that we really like, right? So now we're gonna figure out what are some of the wounds that we might actually still have. So, wounds from the past are significant barriers to claiming your powers and become the best version of yourself. So, according to a French author named Lise, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Lisa Bourbeau, I don't know, maybe that's correct. There are 5 wounds that can limit us in our life if we don't take the time to recognize and heal them. These wounds are abandonment, rejection, injustice, humiliation, and betrayal. So we're going to explore each of these wounds. So let's start with rejection first. This is one of the most common wounds that people have. So rejection is a profound wound because the one who suffers from it feels rejected in his being. So, when you still have this wound, for example, you apply for a job that you want, right? And then you get rejected, you will take it so personally that you feel that you as a person are being rejected, right? Or you maybe when you declare love to someone and they reject you, right? You will feel that, oh, you're not good enough, you don't deserve love and everything. If you feel that way, you probably have this rejection wound. So in terms of behavior, they often doubt their right to exist. So people who are depressed, who are even suicidal, they have like they really have this wound, right? Like from childhood maybe. They seek solitude because if they receive a lot of attention, they would be afraid of not knowing what to do because they are so used to being rejected, right? So when they get attention and love, they can't actually receive it because they feel that they don't deserve it. So this is the funny thing because we all want to be loved, but not everyone um, feel like they deserve to be loved, even though that's something that they really, really want, right? That's why you have to actually heal this wound first so that you can actually receive what you actually want. So people with rejection wound don't know what to do with themselves when they get too much attention or when they get, so much affection from someone. It is also not usual for them to live in ambivalence when they are accepted. They won't believe it and then create a self-sabotaging situation so that others reject them. So this is why, like we probably heard like, oh, you're being dramatic. Like people who are dramatic, who like to create their own problems, it's because they have this wound, um, usually from childhood, right? So that's why we have to heal this first so that we can actually become the best version of ourselves and create the life that we want. You want to create that beautiful love relationship that you want. You have to heal yourself first. All right, so this is one of them. The next one is injustice. So people with the injustice wound are usually rigid and lack flexibility, often a perfectionist and envious of others. So people with injustice wound tend to cut themselves off from their feelings and often cross their arms. So that's like their body language. They try to be perfect and justifies themselves a lot. They find it difficult to admit that they have problems. They often doubt their choices. They like order and tend to control themselves by demanding a lot from each other. They can be angry and cold and has difficulty showing affection. It is often difficult for people with the injustice wound to accept compliments, help, or gifts from others because they feel in debt towards the person after. So again, this is like these wounds are usually created in childhood. So between 0 to 7 years old, that's when we develop ourselves, right? Like we're like sponges. So everything that we hear, everything that we see from our parents usually, or whoever it is that that grows up with us around that period of time, we tend to so for example, if our parents have insecurities, we tend to have them too, right? Because whatever it is that our parents have will be passed on to us. So that's why like like parenting skills and everything is so super important. Yet parenting doesn't really come with a guidebook, unfortunately. But it's good that nowadays there's so many like parenting schools and knowledge, and with the internet and social media and everything, it's so easy to get access. And also, um, yeah, I mean, even though we get it from our parents, we're now adults, right? So we are in charge of ourselves. If we know this wound, like we acknowledge them, all right, this wound might come from childhood, but then again, it is actually up to us. It is our decision to heal ourselves and move forward, right? So we don't want to be in a victim mode, or because my parents did this, that's why I have this, right? All right, and another thing about injustice wound It's also usually created. It is very related to race as well. So people with a certain race, sometimes they get bullied as well. So I have Arabic blood in me. So I have dark skin, and when I grew up, like there's in my school there's usually what do you call it? Oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, basically what I was trying to say is I get bullied a lot because of my race as well, because I'm Arabic. People, like even call me, hey, camel from Arabs or something like that, or like, because of my dark skin or because of my, curly hair and that kind of thing. Because in Indonesia, I don't know if you know, or Asia in general, like the standard of beauty is, white skin, straight hair, long hair, right? And that kind of thing. And I don't fit in those boxes at all. So I grew up with a lot of bullying as well. And also because I was being compared a lot, I find that sometimes I still have this wound that I have to release. And that's why I really don't like, injustice, because I grew up with them. And that's why I also share a lot of bullying topic, like anti-bullying topic, when I'm speaking as well, because I'm so against bullying. Because bullying is one of the cause of this kind of wounds, right? All right, moving on. So humiliation. People with the humiliation wound are often ashamed of themselves and others, or afraid to shame others. They think they are dirty or unclean. They don't want to recognize and assume their sensuality and their love of the play. Okay, you know what? There's so many typo here. I'm so sorry. But basically, people with humiliation wounds, they tend to gain weight quickly. So they're experiencing shame, especially around sensuality or sexuality. They're also afraid of being punished if they enjoy life too much. So they feel that whenever things are going well in their life, they will feel that, or something bad is going to happen, or that they don't deserve it. They haven't done anything to deserve all this happiness, right? So people with humiliation wound will have that doubt a lot. So they tend to ignore their freedom or their needs. They're gonna put their needs, like they're gonna put other people's needs above their own. So they don't feel like they deserve to enjoy life. So that's what humiliation wound brings to you if you don't heal that. Next one of the biggest one as well is abandonment. So this is usually created if you come from a broken home background, or if you experience like parents divorce, or just a dysfunctional family in general. So it is this wound is experienced in the case of abandonment is the second deepest fear after rejection, because they both affect the being. They both make you take things personally, right? So people who suffers from abandonment do not feel emotionally nourished enough. They don't feel like they received the love that they needed during childhood, right? They will need constant help and support. They think that they cannot do anything on their own. So they are usually, when they're in a relationship, they will be codependent, right? They will tend to get like needy and clingy, and then they tend to dramatize everything, because like every little rejection, they will think that it's them being abandoned, right? They will feel fear, like especially in a adult relationship, that will play up a lot, this abandonment wound, because they will always fear that the other person don't like or love them enough, that they won't stay, they're gonna leave them, something like that. So they are usually seek other people's opinion or approval of others. They don't usually comfortable making their own decisions, so they will tend to depend on other people a lot. So in any relationship, especially in romantic relationship. All right, the next one and the last one is betrayal or treason. So the wound of betrayal or treason is intimately related to the wound of abandonment. very uncompromising. They want to show others what they are capable of. So this is, people who like to show off. They want to like up, I don't know, one up other people. It's because they have this wound usually. So they often interrupt people when they're talking or respond before a person is finished. When things don't go fast enough to their liking, they become angry. So they're very impatient. They hate not being trusted and do not always keep their commitments as well, or promises. Uh, so it is very essential for you to know, if you have this wound, especially to identify your limits and what obstacles stops you from claiming your power, right? So from all of these wounds, you might identify, oh yeah, I have this, I have this. It's okay. Like we all have one of these usually. Like no one is, yeah, no one is perfect, right? Like we are damaged in in so many ways, but at the same time we are also perfect in our own imperfection, right? So this is only for us to be aware so that we know how to heal ourselves, what to heal, first and foremost, right? So that we know what to improve next. So yeah, by being aware of our behaviors and wounds, you are getting to know yourself better and also understanding why you tend to behave in a specific ways. Because the first step to change is to be aware. So by us being aware alone is already one step, one big step forward, forward, becoming the best version of yourself, right? All right. So, is there any question regarding all of these wounds? Please let me know in the comment section. I would love to share as well, like how to heal and everything. But I actually have a program about healing. Maybe I will share it with you, or maybe we can create another program together. Let me know if you guys are interested. Right? Maybe me and Reimagining Society can create something so that we can focus more on the healing side and how to actually do that. All right. So again, I just want to mention, if you want to become, a new you in this new year, I have this 10-step guide to become the best version of yourself in 2021. So if you feel that there's, like I already give you so much value out of what I share so far, then, you will get a lot more in this book. All right. So the last but not least, the last step for today is connect with your authentic self. So we already did the self-reflection, and now how to actually connect with your authentic self. But what is authenticity anyway, right? So we heard about that a lot. So basically, authentic people are genuine. They are real and mostly in integrity with themselves. So not only that they say they want to do it, but they also become it. They don't try to be someone they are not, or to please other people, especially the people that we don't know. Because what social media did for us today is that we want to show off like our life, the best part of our life, right? But what we see is on Instagram, for example, right, or Facebook, it's basically a highlight reel of someone's life. They don't people don't usually show when they're sad, or when they have mental health challenges, right, or when they fail and stuff like that. No, people usually post only the happy things on social media, right? So um so yeah, basically by being authentic is you showing up as you, raw and real, right? And by you being different is not an issue or a challenge or something that you have to hide, but it's something that you thrive to be. So you have to find the thing that makes you, basically, right? Because that is where personal power comes from. That is how you can actually unleash your full potential. That's how you become the best version of yourself, not the best version according to your neighbor, right? Or this auntie or that uncle, right? You want it to be the best version of you. So authentic people also love doing what they enjoy and don't try to copy other people's ideas for the sake of being successful. So it's okay to get inspired, right? It's okay to, oh yeah, this is a good idea, but like create something, something of your own. So yeah, and also authentic people, their success comes from doing what is in their heart, right? What drives them as opposed to what inspire others or the majority. So now I want you to, again, get your pen and paper. I want you to take a moment to list three things that makes you happy and fulfill a space in your heart. What makes you happy? What makes you you, right? What is the thing that makes you get up in the morning with motivation and passion? Can't wait to start the day. What is the thing? What is your hobby? So I want you to list at least three things. I'm sure you have more, right? And after you list them all, I want you to find more ways to do that, right? Because when you do the things that you love, you are claiming your power. You are becoming the best version of yourself. All right. Is there any more questions? If not, I'm going to conclude this webinar. So basically, claiming your personal power, becoming the best version of yourself, unleashing your full potential is not an objective that you can necessarily achieve overnight, right? First, you have to accept that you are not perfect. No one is. And perfection will never be our truth, right? As you have learned from this 5-step guide that I shared, claiming your personal power is not about perfection, but more about finding your true self. So no matter what, I want you to remember to know that you got this. You're on the right track. Like you're here, you invested in yourself, right? You show up for yourself and you have to be proud of yourself, right? And I want you to embrace yourself starting from today. All right, so that's it from me. Again, if you want to get a complete guide to transform your life and unleash your full potential, I created this ebook so that you can be more confident, you can increase your self-esteem, you can get to know and reconnect with yourself deeper. You can also learn how to be more comfortable with yourself. So if you feel that the 5 steps that I share with you so far is valuable, like I have 5 more steps waiting for you in this ebook. This is only $10. I want to make it affordable for everyone. And you will receive the step-by-step method to transform your life and claim your power. So you can get it from the link that's gonna be shared on the comment section, I'm sure. Or you can also find me on Instagram. We can get in touch. You can ask me questions. You can find me at Fanny Lara Ambadar, or you can also check out my website www.fannylaraambadar.id, or just click the link and you'll find me there. All right, thank you so much. I hope you get a lot out of this webinar, and I'm so honored. Thank you so much for having me here. And hopefully I get to see you guys again soon in another program. All right, bye.
Thank you, Fanny. What a great session.
Thank
Actually, we have a lot of questions here. At first, I'm interested
you.
in what are you saying. So you said that to end it strong, we need to start it strong as well. But sometimes in the process we face several obstacles that make us down, and it feels like we would like to give up. So how to do that?
All right, so that's why our why is very important. That's why I always said, like, you have to, in the very beginning, you have to be clear on what is it that you want to achieve, and it has to be big. It has to be bigger than yourself. For example, in this work, like I've been doing this since 2014, and I feel like I haven't achieved my success yet, right? But and along the journey, since 2014 until now, there's so many times I feel like I just want to give up. I just want to, like doing this business, because it's my own business. I'm doing it myself. Like it's hard, it's easier to go back and get a salary every month, right? But why do I keep doing this? Because at the end of the day, for me, my not only like my mission is to help you, but also my vision is that like I think of myself, okay, if I die tomorrow, right? Will I be happy? Like will I be happy with what I've done, right? And I was like, I always said no, I want to help more people. So that's what keeps me going. So that's why no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many no's I get from doing this kind of work, no matter how hard it is sometimes to probably like sell my ebook or sell my programs and that kind of thing. Like I'm never gonna stop, because at the end of the day, I wanna, like when I die, I want people to remember me as someone who's inspiring. I want people to say that, oh, because of her, I changed my life. Because of her, now I am the best version of myself. I can become a better mother, father, wife, husband, whatever, right? Like that's how I want to be remembered. So my mission and my purpose is that big. I can't let a simple no, one or two no's or maybe 1,000 no's stops me from doing that. So for me, that's my why. I want to be remembered as someone who inspires, who helps people transform their life. So that's why no matter what your goals are, it has to be bigger than you. There has to be you as well in it, right? Like for me, I want to be successful. Of course, I want to be able to speak in front of like thousands of people on the stage. Like that's me, right? Like I want to be successful. I want to have this and that, like all the material things. But then again, our purpose has to be bigger than that. Our why has to be bigger. Like you have to see the big picture, something that will inspire and motivate you so much that no matter what the obstacles are, you're not gonna give up, right? So that's, if you feel that you give up easily, that means you don't have a clear vision yet, or maybe it's not big enough, or maybe you still make it about you than making it about you helping others. Because here's the thing, I'm gonna share with you a big secret right now. So especially for
Great.
people
I
who
like
are
secret.
looking for their purpose. You like secret? Okay, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
No, actually tell as many people as possible, please. So you know how a lot of people are looking for their life purpose. Like, I want to know what my purpose is in this life. I'm gonna tell you something. Our purpose in this life, all of us, is to serve others, right? That's our purpose. That's why we're here. Now, how we do that is our mission, and that's different. For me, I'm doing that by doing this, by being the confidence coach, right? By doing this kind of webinar, by speaking on stages, creating ebooks, that kind of thing, sharing content on social media. For you, it might be different. For you, you might, like by bringing happiness to other people by making YouTube videos, for example, right? By making other people's life, more cheerful, more, I don't know, whatever it is, you got to find what is it that you like, how you're going to serve others, basically, right? So that's what you have to find. So you know the secret now, the secret's out. Your
Yeah,
purpose
I will use
here in the
it.
world is to help people, right? So how you want to help people, right? Like in what field is up to you. So like doctors, lawyers, like everyone has the same purpose but different mission, right? So that's your homework now, is to find your mission, how you're going to help people. All right, I hope that answers the question. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, so it means that going back to our why and our purpose could overcome the anxieties, insecurities, and negativity, and also it could be our motivation. Is it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, see, the confidence coach, because here's the thing. I'm a coach, but I'm a person first, right? So before or after, during me being a coach, the confidence coach, nonetheless, I'm still me. I still have, all of those wounds as well. I'm still working on healing those wounds that I share with you today, right? I'm still human after all. So on a daily basis, I'm working on my insecurities. I still get triggered in my relationships with my family. Like, just, oh my gosh, just last, on New Year's Day, it was one of the hardest day of my life. I had emotional breakdown. I was working on something. Insecurity came up, right? But the thing is, what always reminds me is it's not just me being a coach, but by me being a coach is, it actually, what do you call it? It not forces me, but it inspires me to practice what I preach. For example, that's the only advantage, right? Or one of the advantage of me being a coach, because I know all of these tools, right? I teach other people how to be more confident, but doesn't mean that I don't have insecurities. So the difference is that, when you become confident, you no longer let the insecurities control you. Doesn't mean that you no longer have insecurities. That's a misconception about being the best version of you. By you being the best version of you, that means uh, you no longer be controlled by your insecurities, but you get to control your insecurities. And also by you knowing your purpose, like for now, I have a lot of insecurities. Like for example, before I get on the stage, I'm always nervous, right? But then again, what I always, I set an intention, and my intention is always make me like remind me that this is not about me. I'm on the stage or I'm here right now speaking is to serve you, is to help you. It's not for me, right? If I get something out of it, then I get something out of it. I feel more energetic now. I feel more alive, more I feel fulfilled than before I do this workshop. Like my partner was just here as well. Before I get on Zoom call, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. I don't know, I'm so nervous. I was like that.
Okay.
I was all over the place, right? But then when I actually get on the call, I set my intention. I use my essential oil to help me, you know, help to what do you call it? Like to feel calmer. And then I remind myself of my mission, my intention, and my purpose again. I was like, yep, I'm in the zone. Like
Oh,
insecurity is gone because I no longer make it about me. I make it about my purpose, right? So that's why I can show up confidently and speak like this. I don't know how long have I been speaking. I didn't feel that long because I'm so pumped right now. I'm so much more energetic now that I'm sharing than before I was doing what I'm meant to do. So yeah, definitely. When you get on purpose, you're gonna forget all your insecurities. Doesn't mean that it's not there, but it's manageable. Like it no longer controls you because you have a bigger picture.
I see. Okay, I hope that answer the question well. And there is the question from Harshit Saikia, our RS team. He has the
Oh,
question: do all people have the same approach to find their best self? And also, this
okay.
question, the second is the first step used to be the hardest one to do. What is your recommendation for us without a doubt to do it?
Sorry, what was the hardest?
The first step,
The first step, assessing yourself. It's the hardest. Okay.
anything about being best version of self or others.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's a very good question. Again, if you compare yourself with other people, you're not gonna win, right? So that's why even the theme is about becoming the best version of you. So you don't have to, like no one has the same approach. No one has, the same way of thinking. Even twins can have, a very different journey, a very different path, a very different, way to respond and react and that kind of thing. But, it doesn't matter because you just focus on yourself, right? So it doesn't matter if other people doing it, like you do or different, because what matters is you focus on you. So um, like it's going to be different for some people. Maybe the first step is the hardest to assess themselves because they're not used to asking themselves that kind of questions, maybe, right?
Exactly. Mhm.
Exactly. But for some people, like for me, for example, I'm always like automatically, I always try to like find out, oh, why is this person, behaving this way? Like I'm always like that since I was young, like since even before I studied psychology and become a coach. So I'm always interested in how things work, right? So for me, that's the easiest part, the step one. For me, the hardest one is to which one is it to heal myself, for example, or to actually no. For me, the hardest one is leadership, which is why I actually just attended another seminar the other day, and it was really great. And it's about leadership because I feel like now I'm stepping up into more of a leadership role because I'm speaking in front of the stage so much or sharing this kind of knowledge so much. People look up to me. I feel like I want to be able to learn like how to be a better leader, right? So and for a long time for me the hardest one was to heal my wounds because I was holding on to so much wound and I was in a victim mindset, in a victim mode. I didn't want to take responsibility. So for me, it was the hardest for a long time. So yeah,
Nice.
like your hardest will also change. Like
Mhm.
for example now, Yeah, for example, if you're now having a headache, for example, that's gonna be the worst
Mhm.
pain you've ever experienced because you're experiencing it right now, right? But maybe you've broken a bone before,
Oh,
right? And maybe that's actually the pain was actually worse than this headache, but it's past, like it's done, right? You've gone through it already. You're healed now, like your bone is healed now. But what's happening right now in the present moment is your headache, and that's the worst, right? And then maybe when your headache is gone and then you have a toothache, that's gonna be the worst pain because you're experiencing it right now. Right? So each step that we take in our lives, that's going to be the hardest. Like this year is going to be the most challenging because we don't know what's going to happen, right? Maybe we
yeah,
think,
that's
oh,
all.
the worst has already passed, 2020. But then again, oh my gosh, God, only God knows what's going to happen. Well, hopefully not, right? We think for the best, but then again, we never know what's going to happen. But it's always better to just like be present with where you are right now, and don't compare to other people, because again, if you're using other people's standard, you're not going to win, because they will always have a different. For example, if you base your happiness or success with someone else's standard, you're not going to be able to win. You're not going to be able to please them, right? Because they have a different standard than yours. So just focus on yourself. Being the best version of yourself is also about comparing yourself to you, basically, to you before. That's why we did the reflection in the beginning of this webinar, right? The reflection of last year, because we want to only compete with ourselves last year. We want to be better than ourselves last year, right? Or even yesterday, or even a few minutes ago, right? I feel like now after this webinar, I already like want to compete with myself before this webinar. Because I feel like, oh my gosh, you know what? I shouldn't be like next time. I want to be more prepared. I want to be more confident and not like be so I don't know, all over the place, or nervous so much, right? So next time I'm gonna be more prepared. I'm gonna, like do all my rituals beforehand, or I don't know, something like that, right? But
Mhm.
that's the most important thing. So make plans, create a goal based on you before, right? So that's what becoming the best version of ourselves is. We're gonna be better every single day compared to ourselves then. All right. I hope that answers the question.
Nice
Is there
answer.
any other question?
And there only one best version of us.
Sorry?
There only one best version of us.
There is only one best version of us. Yes. Oh, actually, you know what? That is correct. But also, there is so many different best version of us, because again, like we might be the best version of ourselves yet, but then next year we're gonna have the best version of ourselves again, the newest one, right? So actually, that's the thing with us. Like we always evolve. So like, are you ever gonna be the best version of you? Maybe, right? Maybe one day. The thing is, just focus on improving. Again, focus on progress, not perfection. That's a reminder for me as well, because I tend to like really focus on being perfect. Oh, I want to be perfect, but that's impossible because it's not real. Perfection will never be our truth.
Yeah. And continuing this answer, there is question from Siddharth Gulati from India. How do I know
Uh,
if this is my best version? And what if I don't like the best version of me?
All right. So how would you know is, again, back to the step one, is to assess yourself, right? And also you can use the reflection from last year as well. Like, do you feel like you've improved since last year, right? So since 2020, do you feel like you're going forward or backwards with your goals, for example? That's why you have, okay. Another thing, another tip is that you have to be clear about what best version of yourself look like, feel like, right? Sounds like even. So if you don't like the best version of yourself, that means it's not the best version of yourself, because ideally the best version of you is something that you want to be, right? You like something or someone that you aspire to be. So maybe you can take a look, maybe think back of, the idols that you have, right? Like, who are your idols? What do you like about them? So remember when we were like in our teenagers, in our teenage years, and we like this boy band, this girl band, blah blah blah. But then again, think try to think back, dig deep about what you really like about them. So for example, I'm going to give you some examples about the my idols. So one of
Okay.
my idol growing up is Eminem. Eminem the
Ah,
rapper, right? Probably a bad role model. But what I really love about him was actually not him per se, like as a person, but I love his journey from, from like he came from a broken home family, right? He has a very difficult childhood. He was bullied and everything, but he came out successful, right? He became like one of the best rapper in the world, right? That ever exists. White skin, as well, because usually rappers are dark skin, right? So he really break through and really like he became the best version of himself. Maybe he doesn't feel like it, but for me, I was like, wow, from that to that, that's a journey, right? That's not easy. So for me, that's what I really like about him. What makes him my idol, right? And then another thing. And then after all of that, on when I was in high school, I finally realized. So one of my idols is also Britney Spears. I'm sure you've heard of her. But then when she had her, her whole drama, like when she faced, those emotional challenges and everything, I was like, oh, why is she like that? And then I realized then, before I was even a coach, I realized, oh, when you idolize someone, they're not perfect because they're just human. So that's when I actually have the idea to create my own version. And I created Flara. Her name is Flara. So I created like a character that doesn't exist. And now, as a coach, I realized, oh my gosh, back then I created the best version of me, how she looked like. And, well, she was a singer and all that because I love to sing. I love to sing. And, I wanted to be a singer when I was young. Um, but aside from that, like all her, like she was kind and she has a lot of friends and da 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 da, like all of the traits that I want to have in myself. I list it all. So now maybe it's time for you to get really clear about what best version of you look like, sound like, right? It can be appearance. It can be more than that, right? We're more than how we look like anyway. So, remember when I mentioned about physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional as well. So you have to list them down. Like the best version of you, how is he or she look like, feel like, right? Maybe for you, if you're the best version of you, you're gonna sleep well at night. You're gonna be more compassionate. You're gonna talk positively. You're gonna think positively. So, list all of those traits, behavior, mindset, appearance, everything that is ideal for you that you want to become. So basically, you create your own idol based on yourself, right? So if you
okay, great.
can meet yourself 5 years from now, for example, how is she or he gonna look like, right? Are you gonna be proud of her or him, right? So we create the perfect version of us in our own imperfections, right? So yeah, that's my tip, so that you can start. If you don't love yourself now, I always said, doesn't mean that you have to wait until you become the best version of yourself to love yourself, because again, especially for the one who asked these questions, I think it's because you are so used to criticizing yourself more than you praise yourself, right? So my biggest tip for you is, starting from now, I want you to list all the positive traits that you like about yourself, right? I want you to focus more on that, because you might criticize yourself often because you grew up in that environment where people always constantly criticize you. Maybe your parents even criticize you, right? So now I want you to start like basically switching that mindset that focus. You need to focus on the more positive side of yourself and be proud of that. So go back to the question about what you want to celebrate about yourself, not only last year, but all your life, right? What have you achieved? What do people think of you like when they compliment you, right? What do you like about yourself? That kind of thing. I want you to focus more on that. And I want you to look in the mirror tonight or today. I don't know what time it is in India. I want you to look at yourself and I want you to tell yourself, look at yourself in the eye. I want you to tell yourself, I am enough and I am lovable. I am smart. And I want you to list all the things that you've wrote down, all the positive qualities about yourself. I want you to say it to yourself in the mirror while you look at yourself. If there's emotions come up, great. That means you're connecting with yourself, right? But that's one of the most impactful exercise that we can ever do, the mirror work, looking ourselves in the mirror. Because usually when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we're just like brushing our teeth, putting on makeup, brushing our hair and that kind of thing. But we don't really look at ourselves. But looking at ourselves in the mirror is actually the only way we can look at ourselves, right? Because we can't really see ourselves, any other way but looking at the mirror. So I want you to really like look at yourself in the mirror, take your time, look at yourself in the eye, and I want you to tell yourself you are beautiful. Say your name, like for example, I do that. Like Fanny, you are beautiful, you are smart, you are strong, whatever, all the qualities that I like about myself. And at the end, I said, Fanny, I love you. I love you with your own imperfection. I love you just the way you are. Right? That's the self-love exercise that's really powerful. So yeah, I want you to start
All
that
right.
right now after this webinar.
All right, we'll do it soon. Okay, finally we come to an end of the session. And for all of the participants, please kindly turn on your camera to take our photo together. Hello, hello. Hi. Okay.
Let me know when you're taking the photo so that I can pose.
Okay, everyone, please turn on your camera so that we can take the picture.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I hope what I shared tonight has been valuable. If you've heard of all of this before, I hope this is a good reminder. It's a good reminder for me as well. Every single time I share this to other people, I'm reminded as well. So this is like a self reminder as well. Like as much as I share this, I'm also reminding myself of all of these things that I share.
Yeah, time for the picture.
Okay.
So this is there. We're just waiting for one more. Oh, and everyone meet Habil. Habil is a dear friend of mine. He's gonna be the next speaker for the next event. When is it gonna be? I'm not really sure. But yeah, he's a coach as well, and he's an amazing coach. So what he's gonna share, I'm sure it's gonna be very valuable as well. So don't miss out.
Okay, then I think we already did
Oh,
the
did you take
photo.
the photo?
Okay, so
Oh,
we
okay.
truly hope we truly hope that you gain valuable information that will be beneficial to your life. Thank you once again, Ms. Fanny, and everyone to make this session successful. Please spare your time to
Thank
fill out the
you.
survey that we have provided about the session, and please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for regular news and happening. Now, on behalf of Reimagining Society, thank you for joining us today and have a great day. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.